First thing we gotta do, get the keys to the Porsche. This thing is always so weird. Pretty proud of that. I figure after yesterday's video, I should probably do a video where, you know, you guys can see that like I'm successful and I'm not just like somebody who's talking about losing a job or whatever. So I didn't want that to look like the case, but right now we're taking a little Sunday morning drive in the new addition to the family. Not the newest, but a new addition to the family in 2020. I've always wanted a manual sports car, so finally got one. Pretty happy about that. We're gonna take some back roads, 'cause that's, you know, the thing you do in a sports car, you take back roads. There was a point in time in which I thought that, you know, I was going to make it in music, but in starting my music journey so early, like in 2006, really getting going with it, my first group was called First in Flight. It was a rap group, and we were really actually very good. And we had a really dope album that I still like to listen to called 1903. But we were young and everybody wasn't on the same page. And that's the first time I learned something very important in life, is that just because it's your dream doesn't mean it's other people's dream. And you cannot force other people to be as committed as you. You just have to find people who are just as committed as you. And unfortunately, those guys at that time were not committed. Actually, they just weren't committed to what I was wanting to do, which was making it music, right? And I was really passionate about music. I had been making music like nonstop. That was my thing. So let me tell you a crazy thing that happened in First in Flight. First in Flight got so popular that we literally were on the radio every morning, and we had a show that was at a college in the city. And this is like the first time this ever happened to me. But we start the show. One of my homeboys gets up there, he's like, "Do y'all know who we are?" The crowd goes, "No." And then the beat drops, right? And then the crowd goes, "Hey, hold up. We know this song. So shout out to Nolan and Larry in the Morning Madhouse. They used to play my song, my group song, every morning for like 4 or 5 months, right? And these college kids knew the song. And they were like, you know, it's First in Flight, oh, you already know. And yes, we get it poppin' with the Morning Madhouse. All that stuff like that. That's how the song was. It's a dope song. I'll probably put it here. It never got released, officially got released, because this is way, way back in the day. But as far as like the reaction, the group loved it. We got off the stage feeling like rock stars. We felt like we were destined to be there. And man, that was a good feeling. First feeling like somebody actually was like really hype on you, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing that'll get you going. Now that's the upper. But let me tell you about the downer. Not too long after that show, we did a show at Audrey Cale for the Del Curry basketball tournament, what was cool about that tournament was that it had all the biggest teams in the East. And actually, that's the first time I got a chance to see Lance Stevenson play. So that was back in high school when he played at Lincoln. But all that being said, they asked us to come and perform for the halftime show. And when we got there wasn't anything set up for vocal performance at all. So, you know, me being the manager or the person that was coordinating those things at that time, it was like, what are we gonna do? Well, we had to like take a stereo box and play the CD through some little boom box. I'm talking about back in the day. You know the cassette boom boxes, the ones that used to have like the CD and the cassette in it? Yeah, literally. We had a microphone pointing to one of those speakers on there, and it was playing out of there in a gym. And let me tell you something about a gym. If you've never performed in a gym, the worst place to perform in a gym and use the house PA speakers is in the middle. And the reason why is because the sound bounces off the walls. So you never hear like a clean sound, you hear some crap. Man, it was such a bad performance because we couldn't hear anything that the guys in the group got really let down. Half of them at least were like, yo, we're not coming back tomorrow. Tomorrow we had another performance. And I was like, y'all, well, you know, we got to do it. This is our word. We said we were going to do it. We'll fix the sound. We'll make it better, right? And lo and behold, that was basically the end of the group. The next day, it was only me and another member that came back, and we performed. But it was the beginning of something beautiful, because I had already created a solo song, and he had also created a solo song too. And that was the first time I performed my solo song, Styles, in public. Actually, no, it's the second time. Let me quit lying. The first time I performed Styles in public was at Hot Import Nights. So that was a dope show too. Shout out to Jason. But as far as like that day, it let me know that even your closest friends can bail on you if they're not committed. So loyalty became a thing that I really held close to my heart. I was really like, okay, I gotta make sure people are loyal and are down for me. So that group's over, they're done, because they thought people were booing, but they weren't, because nobody could hear anything. And that's one of the things. We went from having a great show to having one of our worst shows ever, and they bailed on the first sign of adversity. They bailed. You know, they were young, but they bailed. And, you know, that's a lesson right there, man. Sometimes you're gonna have great shows, sometimes you're gonna have bad shows. But you know what? You gotta stay to rock another day. You can't bail on them. You can't bail on your people. But the next thing I wanna talk about is how that led to my group Pradigy GT getting started. So because I was doing my own solo stuff and I was putting together my own solo album, which did come out on the internet and for retail sale or whatever, called The Odyssey, which is spelled wrong. I decided at that point in time that I probably need to go ahead and do some more things in the local community. So one of the things that I wanted to do was put together a beat battle. And I put together a beat battle. Ironically though, there was a guy named Barack Obama running for president, and he won. And so everybody and their mother went to DC for the inauguration party. And I don't even say like event, I just say like straight up party, because people just went up there and lost their minds. But I had a show booked for a beat battle, and all my contestants started bailing out on me. And I had a venue that I already paid for. So I had to do something with the particular venue. Well, I was already playing around with my friends in my house, just playing, you know, rock songs or whatever. And one of my closest friends, Patrick, I asked him, I said, you know, hey, look, can you come to my house and play the drums while I play the guitar? I want to try rapping and playing guitar at the same time. And that was the first time I'd ever tried that. And it actually worked. It kind of worked pretty good. I kind of was like, well, I got this show coming up for this event. I can't get my money back. It's $500 non-refundable deposit. Let's just go ahead and put together like a show. We'll call it like Pradigy and Friends or whatever, right? And I keep saying Prodigy, but it's Pradigy, right? We try to really stress the A. And so we go, we rock it, we do it. And that's the first show of Pradigy GT. Was that inauguration event. Horrible show. Fun, scary as hell. Scary as hell. I mean, my guitar broke. I mean, it's a performance I hate to look at because I look so scared, but I want to shout out to all my friends that came out and supported and was there to you know, lend their encouragement to me and my crew for doing our thing. So shout out to everybody that came out that night. Further on into that group, because that group actually became pretty successful, we had a lot of big shows. I mean, shows where we were like on big stages opening up for like B.O.B., Snoop Dogg. We were doing the biggest shows in our city, Speed Street. And, you know, eventually with that, we had some issues in that group. Certain people went away because they had family obligations, and other people literally just had bad attitudes and wanted to be the star. And that wasn't gonna work because they weren't the star. It just wasn't the thing. You know, it's one thing to complain, but you gotta put in work. So that type of loyalty, which would be jealousy, is not a good thing to have amongst you, and it was causing a lot of riff-raff in my group. So I had to do the best thing for my group, and I had to remove certain people. Well, that put me in a situation where I had to depend on other people who I had to pay in order for them to be in the group. So now I'm paying these people, and they're showing up late. It's not like it used to be where I could just depend on my guy and be like, hey, look, man, I need you, and he's there. He's there. He's one of the most loyal people ever, right? And we had to deal with that for a while. Yeah, the drummer, sometimes we get a drummer that was really, really, really good. But I tell you, it was like the better the drummer, the more like drama came along with everything. So it just kind of wasn't worth it after a while. And eventually we reconciled and we got our original members back. That lesson there taught me something. It was like, I used to get so mad about, not perfecting something, not being the best performance ever type of a thing. And I would be in my head so much when I perform that I wouldn't even appreciate the event itself. Man, when I got my core guys back, my mission was just to focus on the moment, because I didn't know how long we were going to be able to rock like that. And I'm glad I did, because we had a lot of great times, just the three of us, going different places. And I would say we put on some of the best shows ever, just the three of us. A big part of that is the fact that I could trust those guys. I knew that they were invested in the group just as much as I was, as far as like making sure that we show up and we were a professional. Now, I'm not trying to say that everybody had the same dream as me. That's not true. But from a standpoint of not letting me down, they were 100% loyal, and they stood by their word. And I loved them to death for it, because they allowed me to do something that I've always wanted to do. And we had a great time. I really do appreciate them forever. Oh God, it's a big bird. Gosh. So guys, think about that when you're dealing with your music stuff. Oh, another thing, another person I didn't mention, he wasn't actually a part of my group, but he's somebody who was really loyal to me, and his name is Jermaine Spencer. He worked, now he works at B&R, he has his own company, but Jermaine's somebody who's been with me since the beginning. I remember the first time I met Jermaine was back in college, but me and Jermaine always had a common love of music. We actually met each other at a Russell Simmons event in Greensboro. Russell Simmons said one of the weirdest things I ever heard in my life to me. And Jermaine helped out during the First in Flight days, but he also helped out greatly during the Pradigy GT phase, because he was able to book us a lot of shows and hook us up with a lot of things. Now, I'm gonna get into some stories with the label, because there's so many stories you guys don't know. Like, there's stories about like how we could have done this, or maybe if we had done this, it would have been better for us. Money, because that was one thing a lot of people wanted to talk about. How much money did you get from being signed to a label? How did it feel to have a spot that we could call home, and a family that we could just, hang out with and do our things? We had some great times at B&R, by the way. But, with life and time, things come to an end. One of my closest mentors, he's used to be an AR at Columbia. He was like, look, you got time, man. You ain't got that much time. You gotta make it while you're still a certain age, because because you'll age out. In hip hop, you can age out, and that's the truth. And I was aware of that. I didn't want to age out, but we haven't performed the show in a couple years, and things have changed, man. Music's changed. The whole concept of what is popping with music's changed.